I've known him for almost 8 years now. I've known him since when he was about 11, and now he's a very, very big man. Last year, he won the Queen's Award, um, and this is one of the very rare awards that you get as a young person. He's worked with various celebrities, including Richard Branson, Tiny Temper, Wizkid, Rita Ora, um, name it. Okay, he's a brand ambassador for also about 10 different major brands, including Nando's, um, the Virgin brand, and he actually gets paid, I think, 15 to 21 days a year just to advise a lot of companies. Okay, Mr. Jerry is under the age of 21, and I think, in all honesty, he's already making a six-figure salary. Okay, so I brought him in to talk to us about himself, what he does, and maybe give us a little bit of inspiration. Okay, so if we give Mr. Jerry a little bit of a round of applause.
Hi everyone, good morning. I'd like to get to know everyone, so if we like go around and if you could give me your name and maybe one line on this that you do. So I missed that part.
Well, Dr. ID, basically lecturer now with business development person at African Strategy.
My name is Ario. I'm actually an independent financial advisor.
My name is Shay. Currently, I'm studying HR. I currently have a staff here in Ghana as well. And I work in health.
My name is Bethel. Currently, I work in as a recruiter. It's a health organization. But I have more of finance and
My name is Rich Doe. I work as a business security asset manager for Law Academies. That's what I do to pay my bills for now.
Yeah.
My name is Shafiq. I work for Enco UK for the health facility.
Cool. So again, I'm Jeremiah. I'm 19 years old. I'm an entrepreneur, youth activist, and public speaker. So I do loads of work within the community. Last year, I became the youngest black person to receive an honour from the Queen. So have you heard of like the honours list and like the MBEs and the OBEs? So I was the youngest person to become a medalist of the Order of the British Empire. So I've got like letters at the end of my name now. So in terms of what I do business-wise, I run a company called EMNL. It stands for Empowering and Motivating the Next Generation of Leaders. And we are a youth consultancy agency. So when I was growing up, I noticed that a lot of brands that serve young people, so let's say Nike or Converse or all of the brands that young people interact with, they actually didn't talk to the young people. And I thought, what could I do to maybe bridge that gap between the customers and the brand, rather than them just selling the product? How could I get the customers to go into the company and give them ideas or to advise them on how to do things better? So I started with the BBC, and I was only 15 when I first started my business, and I pitched them the idea for something called the Radio 101 Extra Youth Council. So have you heard of the Radio 1 radio station? So it's like the biggest radio station in the UK, and I noticed that even though they had young listeners, when I walked into the building, it was middle-aged white people who basically ran the station, but the audience was young people from loads of different demographics. So the idea was to bring together 15 young people who were interested in music and radio and media, and we brought them together to basically advise the BBC on anything from their live events to what you would tell on the radio to their visual content and their outreach. And it was really successful. The young people came up with loads of different ideas that the BBC implemented, and 60% of them at the end went on to be employed by the BBC. So they basically benefited very, very much from having the young people in the building. After setting that up, I had a number of people basically telling me I need to turn it into a business, and I decided to create EMNL from there. So we've gone on to work with the likes of Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce, initially when I approached them, I thought they just make cars, but Rolls-Royce Motor Cars is like a separate company that uses the name. But Rolls-Royce itself, they do engineering. They provide engines for like private jets and all the airlines and I don't know, like a military ship, for example. They power cities in the UK, and one in every 300 jobs in the whole of the UK is at Rolls-Royce. So they employ hundreds of thousands of people across the UK. But I noticed that with their work experience, only 3% of the applicants were from BME backgrounds, and I wondered how come people from like my sort of background aren't applying to become part of their work experience. So I emailed the CEO. I didn't think he would get back to me at all. This was after me emailing, when I first started my company, I emailed about 30 different companies. So I emailed about 30 different companies. So the way I thought it would be best to get business was to speak to the CEO of the company, say that I'm a 17-year-old young man starting up my business, can you help out? So I've done that with about 30 companies. Out of the 30 companies, how many do you think responded to me? Out of 30 companies that I contacted?
3.
3. No companies got back to me. No companies got back to me. So it was a thing where I had all of these people encouraging me, yeah, you need to turn it into a business. And when I'm working hard researching all of these companies, none of them wanted to listen. So when I came over with the email of the CEO of Rolls-Royce, I thought, nah, this guy ain't gonna respond to me. He's got like a salary of like 2.7 million a year. He's probably busy doing whatever he's doing.
You didn't believe you. They didn't believe in you.
Yeah, I didn't believe in myself, and that's something that we all need to learn. Like, what I realized is that if I never contacted him, it would have been 100% no. But if I contacted him, it would have been 50-50. It could have been a yes, it could have been a no. So I decided to send an email to him, and the following day, he got back to me saying, Rolls-Royce really enjoyed the work that you were doing. It would be great to have a meeting and get you into the company. And I was like over the moon, because it was like all of that hard work for months and months and months, trying to get to companies. Some of them were like high street stores that weren't even as big as Rolls-Royce. But when I got to that 31st email, when I could have given up, that's when I finally got my first client. So following Rolls-Royce, I started, it just basically opened business for me. Every company wanted to work with me, so I went on to work for the likes of Nike. That was like my childhood dream, to work for a brand like Nike, because everyone loves Nike. So when I had the opportunity to work with them, it was crazy. So Nike, Converse, Superdry, so like the jackets and stuff. The Virgin Group, so I work with Richard Branson's daughter. I want to show you guys as well. I don't want to just be talking and I couldn't be saying anything, but yeah, I work with Richard Branson's daughter, and I'm an ambassador for her charity. So over at Virgin, I was sort of advising them on how to connect to youth and how to relate to like the audiences they're connecting with. The BBC, massive like marketing agencies that deal with different brands. So business has been good in that sense. Now what I basically took from that and that whole business model is the fact that I identified a skill that I had, and the skill was the fact that I knew loads of young people. I was very popular on social media. I'll go into why that happened, but the fact that I had a massive network of people and I knew a lot about brands, that was what led me to actually create this business. So I feel sometimes in life we have to identify our strengths and really think about how can we utilize it and bring it together to actually have an impact on us. And the other thing I sort of took from my business is the fact that it took so long before I even made the penny. Like I had to do that idea with the BBC for about 18 months. I didn't even get, for in Nigeria we say kobo, I didn't even get nothing at all. Like not even expenses. I was under the age of 18, so I had free Oyster card. So if I go to the BBC ask for money, they're gonna say you got free Oyster card. So literally I couldn't even get 1 penny. But I decided to continue with them because I knew that if I had all of that experience with such a renowned organisation, that it would help me when I want to get into the other companies. So that is my business. I also do a number of other things. I work at a record label. who are actually based not too far from there. Have you guys heard of like an artist called Tiny Temper? So Tiny's my boss basically. I work for his music publishing company. It's called Imatech. Music publishing is different to a record label. We deal like behind the scenes with all the technical and legal stuff. So someone could be signed to a record label, but they could also have a music publishing deal. So Tiny has a label called Disturbing London, and that's like separate. But yeah, I work not too far from here and that. So we've signed an artist called Notes. Notes made like a song called Addison that blew up. So he's one of the people on our roster. We've got a producer called Nano Rhodes. So this guy isn't an artist, but he would make like the beats underneath it. So Nana started working with like loads of these up and coming UK guys, and then last year he went to the next level when before that he actually made a song called Girls Like for Tiny, and that sold like millions of records worldwide. And then after that he made it into the More Life album by Drake. So he made a song called Passion Fruit, and that was like Drake's biggest song last year. And a producer takes like 50% of all of the royalties from a song. So imagine this guy from Hackney who was just grinding for about 10 years, getting the biggest rapper in the world to actually accept his instrumental. And then Drake recently made a song. He managed to get a sample from Michael Jackson on his new album. Did you guys hear about that? So Michael Jackson had songs that he recorded that he didn't release, and Drake managed to get it on one of his singles. So Nana's actually the guy that wrote that part for Drake. So again, a songwriter can get up to 25% of royalties. So that's everything that I do on a day-to-day basis. Because of my background and everything that I do, I often work for a lot of brands.